Sync them up. All right. Welcome to today's episode of the Daily Growth Talk, where I do my morning routine. I come home, I jot down my thoughts, and then I journal them via video podcast. So today I planned on talking about the gap year or the year that I took off of school. Put quotations around gap year because I'm not going to school again next year. And I have no plans of going to school at all. Doesn't mean it won't happen. It's absolutely out of the playbook right now. One, because of this whole coronavirus thing. And two, I'm not very interested. My life is going pretty well with the choices that I've decided to move with. And I'd rather focus on building that up than stopping what I'm doing and going to school. I did, however, plan on, I was thinking about going to Columbia to study filmmaking. That didn't happen. I applied, got in, they offered me a nice little thing, scholarship to go, but I didn't feel like even checking it out that much really after I got in because I realized the reason I applied was because I was having a hard time with like business. I felt like I wasn't having that great of a social life, and I thought I'll just fix this by going to school. That was my real deep down thought, that I could kind of escape the difficulties of the life I've chosen via not going to school by going to school, which obviously like that would do something, but I don't know if that would be aligned with my true goals of being an entrepreneur, being a filmmaker. And I'm kind of enjoying this path of figuring it all out as I go. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not going to school. At least I don't foresee that happening in the future. But who knows? I might change my mind. I have a personal thought that like a guy, just anybody who can make a decision and have the ability to change their mind when a better opportunity comes their way. For example, if somebody gave me a really good reason why I should go to school that I haven't heard already, or if I decided that there were reasons I should go to school that I had previously kind of skimmed past when thinking about it, I think it would be good to openly change your mind, especially when I'm putting it out publicly like this. So that's just my 2 cents. But as of now, I don't see that happening. So I want to talk about what's gone on for me in the past year, not going to school. I feel like I didn't do a great job documenting my year via YouTube because I could not find the perfect way to document. I couldn't find a way that I enjoyed that fit in well with my lifestyle. So what I mean by that is I stopped really enjoying vlogging. I felt like it was kind of superficial for me to be recording my life as it's happening, because then you're not very present when you do that. And I feel like presence is very important for me because I do have I have anxiety a lot, probably because of the path I've taken and how uncertain it is, but I tend to be an overthinker, so that inherently kind of takes you out of the present very often because you're stuck thinking about the future and what's going to happen. So I just have, I don't even know why I brought that up, but right, okay, yeah. So I don't like vlogging. I can't do it consistently like I used to be able to. And it's like a lot of editing and work when I already do that as a job, like for On Your Mark or whatever clients I'm working with. So I don't want to be like doing more work in that sense, you know? I feel like doing stuff like this is easier it's easier to document this way because I can just be raw Two, the editing process is super easy. I just throw this in, I match it with the audio from this mic, and then I color grade it and I export and I post to YouTube same day. It's like takes an hour. Whereas a vlog takes a couple hours to edit, and then it takes probably an hour to export and an hour to upload. So that's like 4 or 5 hours of editing whenever I just record my day, and it doesn't even feel like genuine. So anyways, yeah, I didn't do a good job documenting, but I do recall everything that happened, obviously. So I want to talk about kind of what happened, some of the lessons I learned, how I was able to kind of go from this high school kid to being able to make a substantial amount of business for myself. You know, and just what's happened between now and then, and how I kind of plan to move forward, just from here on out. So it was about a year ago when I was driving Abby home from my house. We were hanging out. It was right after graduation, so we'll be coming up on the year anniversary of me deciding to do a gap year very soon. But I was driving home with Abby, and I think I was frustrated because I wasn't super excited about going to college. I didn't know if I wanted to be a business major or a marketing major or do film. And the college I was planning on attending was University of Illinois at Chicago. And they don't have a filmmaking major or a program for that. So I was at a crossroads, and on top of that, I owed some like stupid fee for orientation that I was pissed off about, and it made me feel like, oh, they're just trying to scam me for my money, blah blah blah. So I was just frustrated at the time, and that frustration manifested as me saying, what if I take a gap year? It just made me think, like, what if I could just get away from school? Because I don't like school. I didn't like high school. I don't necessarily think, and I kind of confirmed that this year, like that you need to have a filmmaking degree or a marketing degree to do good at both of those things, especially if you find yourself in the right opportunities, which I'll touch on later on in this episode. But yeah, I was also like enrolled in this summer class that I wasn't enjoying. It was like every Tuesday morning. And it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And I just overall was completely unenthusiastic about going to college. So I remember this very clearly. I was very nervous about this. It was like I was coming out or something. But I came out to my dad about not wanting to go to college in the kitchen. And it was very tense for me because it was so last minute, and I have a thing about changing my mind all the time. And you could ask my dad; he makes fun of me about it all the time. And it was just scary, and we didn't see eye to eye on it, and at first, and I think him and my mom both thought that it was like something I didn't really put in much thought about, which is probably true, and that the fact that was true was going to set me up for things I didn't expect, right? All of which is true. But the key difference between my parents and I is that I like failure, right? I like learning from mistakes. I like doing things and reevaluating how those things went, and then how I can get better at them moving forward. And that's a little bit different than the way school works. You can't fail in school. If you fail, you have to pay thousands of dollars to retake a class. And you learn everything from a textbook that's probably old, and it's just not the way I like to. I like to learn on the scene, doing things, like checking myself, all that. That's kind of like what makes me, I think, a decent entrepreneur at this point. But yeah, I just remember talking to my dad, and it was tense for a while because I didn't know how to make any money at that point. And the day I told him, which was like early June, I was like, there's no summer break for me. I'm going to make this happen right now. And I got to work. It was very stressful, and my goal was just to start making money as a filmmaker or a photographer, right? It's I don't really do much photography anymore, but at the time I was like open to whatever. And I starting the business and feeling the pressure of I need to make something happen, because if I don't make something happen, this year will be a failure and I will be embarrassed and I will have made the wrong decision, which is totally the wrong mindset. But I think it motivated me. I was in a dark place. It motivated me to just get out and by all means work late, like very late. I would wake up at 7 and I'd be working till 11 at night editing my documentary, or looking up how to do better camera techniques or whatever it was. And I had this horrible job with this real estate company, and they were totally ripping me off. And um, I didn't enjoy working with these people, and I ended up leaving, and I left like $6,000 on the table because it was just so miserable. And it just felt like, for like the first 2 months of my gap year, it just felt like failure after failure after learning experience after learning experience after failure after whatever, just, and it gets to you, and you're coming from high school where life is nothing like that. And you know I just had it was weird because I thought like I was unable to make any money because it just wasn't coming in. The opportunities I did have with the real estate company fell through. But an interesting thing happened. Right as I was leaving that company, the real estate company, I was starting to get tiny, tiny jobs. So I had like a $50 week, and then I had like a $200 week. And then I probably went back down to a $0 week, and then I had another $70 week, right? And then I leave that company the next week, $700 out of nowhere. I just get all these clients. It was so weird. Then I go on a fishing trip that I go on every year with my brothers, my cousin, and my grandpa. I couldn't have thought that was worse timing because I had just had the best financial week of my life. It seemed like the universe had tilted in my favor that week because I don't know what I did. All these people just needed my video service, and they wanted me to do it, which was not what I was used to. I mean, I had done tiny, tiny client jobs for the past year leading up to this, but I had never gotten a job. I had never like made that much money from different people at once. It was like it was a breakthrough for me. And it felt lucky. But there was no stability. I thought like that was going to be a one-off, and then I would go back down to lower weeks and I would just keep building up from there. But no, I went on this fishing trip. I came back, bam, $500 week. And I was like, I went from barely making anything, and then I started making money, and I was like, I see a possibility here. I started investing in better equipment. I started investing in tiny lavalier mics. I started buying tripods. I started buying a camera bag. I bought studio lights, right? And I just started to get more work. Fast forward maybe a month or two. That $700 and the $500 week happened in late August, early in late August. Fast forward to September. I land big deals with On Your Mark, right? The bigger deals than I had ever gotten, like multi-$100 deals. I do that work. Emily asks me to do more work. Bam. So I after 2 big jobs for On Your Mark, which is the small gym in the city that I work with, I go to Emily and I'm like, hey, let me run your social media for a monthly fee. And we landed it, and now I was making more money than I had ever made in a month every month based on our handshake. And that was huge. Now there was some stability. It had always been job to job to job to job. I don't know what's going to happen, right? And I had gotten pretty good at that, but now I was like, now I have the opportunity to really get in close with a company and make money every month and build off of this, right? So there was momentum now, right? So I keep doing that. I'm doing clients. In December, I had a $2,800 month, it's my biggest month to date. The next month I had I finished my documentary and I premiered it at the theater, and I'm making a bunch of content for that. That was an awesome experience. And that was part of the year. So that was the middle of my gap year. We're in the middle of my gap year now, and I premiere my first ever full length documentary on a big screen, and I sell out. I didn't sell out the theater. I think I sold like 95% of the tickets, and then maybe 90% of the people that bought tickets showed up. So I think we had about 250 people there. And a lot of tickets I gave away for free. If you were on the team, you got to come for free. Anybody who was in my family came for free. And then some of my friends I let come for free. But we had 250 people there. And that was so cool to me because it was like I can set my mind to do something and sell something, and it can work. So I fell in love with making documentaries. I didn't really know what to do from there. I kept doing client work, but I kind of was like, throughout this year, looking back on it, it was a great starter year. But if you fast forward to now, now I'm gearing up. I mean, I was gearing up to do another documentary shoot in New York City in April, but coronavirus happened. So now I'm gearing up to do that whenever the timing is right. And I'm also working on some film ideas with my buddy Zaire to aid the movement that's going on in the world right now. And my main goal is trying to find my purpose, which is what I talked about yesterday. Like I've developed all these skills this year, like the ability to find clients. I've also developed better filmmaking skills. I've developed a bigger equipment. What would you call it? I have a lot more equipment because I've been investing the money I make back in. And now I'm ready to figure out what the direction is of all the stuff I've accumulated this year, whether it's skills or knowledge or equipment or network. And I don't know. I mean, I just want to keep digging. I want to keep refining my purpose. If there's imagine it's a towel. Every day I'm wringing that towel drier and drier. And that every day I squeeze a little harder. And that's what represents me trying to find my purpose. Right now, I haven't even begun wringing. I don't even know. The only thing I know is I want to help people with my skills. But beyond that, I don't really know what's going to happen. So my plans right now are just to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to stop and go to school. I'm going to keep making content, and I'm going to keep getting better at making content, and I'm going to keep learning how to, whether it's making good audio or color grading better or speaking better or directing other people better or telling better stories or figuring out audiences that I can tap into in order to use my skills to help them, right? I'm going to keep figuring that out, and I guarantee a year from now I will have leveled up mentally like I did this year financially, if that makes sense. That's my goal. And with that, my business will grow, and I'm going to keep there. My goal is obviously to scale whatever I'm doing and make a bigger business, and also reach more people. But I'm happy to take the next 3 to 5 years and be a student of the game, learn from the people I get the pleasure of working with, and working under. I'm happy to work under people like Emily and learn and sit down and produce these podcasts and learn from the people that I get to watch Emily interview. Um, I get the opportunity to build my own business at On Your Mark, which is insane to me. Like, I'm so grateful for that. And yeah, I would honestly, like, it's hard to recommend anybody not go to college because that's such a unique thing for me. Like, the just wanting to start a business and stuff. Like, I think a lot of kids aren't into that. But if you have this like feeling like I do not want to go to college for some reason, but I feel like I have to, I would seriously sit down. This is what I would do if I were you. I didn't do this because I didn't know about this tactic when I was just making this decision. But if I were to do it all again, I would actually, I did do this now that I think about it. But okay, yeah, I'm gonna go back to the beginning of the year and tell you guys a side story, right? The beginning, before I actually decided I was gonna take a gap year, I went to one of my mentors, Mr. Hostrauser, who is at Disrupt Education. He has a great podcast about disrupting education. What the hell? There we go. And I asked him, like, what do I do? Like, I don't know if I should do this or not. And he told me, like, you're going to have to work your ass off. This is not a game. If you take a year off, you have to actually make stuff happen. I would, if I were you, go write down all the pros and cons. What are the pros? What are the cons? I did that. You don't even have to do pros and cons. I would just sit down and write all your thoughts about why you do or don't want to go to college. And you could do this for any decision. If I'm talking to mostly people my age, but like, really sit and meditate on your thoughts. Like, sit and either just breathe and think about it, even if it scares you, or sit down with a paper and pen and write every thought that comes to your mind and look at that and examine it and be honest with yourself, because there's so much opportunity out here that people don't know about. And I think I'm so happy I listened to my gut on this, because I think I would be miserable at college. I'm kind of an introverted guy. I don't like parties. I'm not a party guy. And that's a whole other podcast, honestly, but really sit and meditate on the decisions you're thinking about. Even if you're deciding to what major you want to go into, meditate on it, journal on it, write the pros and cons, and put happiness first over everything. Because, and here's why, I truly believe that if you choose a career that's going to make you happy, if you choose a major that's going to make you happy, and you really become the best in that category, even if it's creative writing, if you become the best creative writer, you will be financially well off, no matter what. If you choose the weakest major, the major that everybody's parents will say, why are you doing that? You're going to be broke. Say, because it makes me happy and I'm going to be the best at it, and I'm going to be richer than you, and I'm going to be richer than the teacher that teaches that class. Because it's not about money. It's about doing what you love and being good at it, and feeding people with your talents. I truly believe that. So, God, I just got ramped up. So, like, for me, I'm going to be the best at whatever path I decide to go on with my talents and my skills and my equipment. Whatever purpose I decide is my purpose, I'm going to become the best at that tiny, tiny sliver of life. And I'm going to work for that. And I'm going to inspire people and help people, like I said. And if you decide to do the same thing, I guarantee you'll be successful and be happy because you enjoy what you're doing. So yeah, that was the gap year. That's how I plan to move forward. That's my advice based on my experience. Don't listen to me because I don't know anything. I'm just telling you what I've learned for my personal life. Thank you guys for listening. Have a great day. Black Lives Matter. I love everybody, and I hope this helped you. Peace.